Welcome back to the 94 podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Man United take on Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final tonight at Wembley. Newcastle have not won the title in 20 years. Manchester United have not won the title in the last 6 years. Man United will want to get back to winning ways in terms of trophies, and Newcastle will also want to kick off their big spending spree with a very, very big title. I think the Carabao Cup is quite underestimated, but silverware is always a silverware. For Eric Ten Hag to win Man United a silverware this season, it will be absolutely phenomenal. But what about Eddie Howe winning the first trophy ever for Newcastle in a very long time? But then also, ever since they were taken over, I don't think this is the right time for them to win a title. But if they win it, this is absolutely huge and massive for both teams. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let me know in the comment box below who is going to win this one. Man United have each and every player back in their side. Newcastle won't be without, of course, influential goalkeeper Nick Pope, but the rest of the players will be back as well. I think Bruno Guimaraes will be available to play in this game, and that's going to be a huge boost for them. We're going to be diving into the team news, my preview, my prediction, and a couple of other very strong points about this game. And look, it's an important one. It's a really, really an important game for both sides. So get involved in the comment box below. Now, in terms of the form, Newcastle will be coming into this game a little bit disappointed with their last run. In their last 4 games in the Premier League, they've lost 1, drawn 3, and won 1. Now, that is not the Newcastle that started the season. They had lost a game against Liverpool in August, and the other team that actually beat them in the last 5 games again is Liverpool. So they don't do very well against Liverpool. But when you look at their performances in their last 5 games, not only 5 games, but it stretches to around 8-9 games. They've been picking up a lot of draws, even against teams that they should beat, including Bournemouth, including Southampton, including all those teams that you think Newcastle are better than, they have a better squad than them. They've actually been drawing those games. So Eddie Howe will be looking for a way, one, of making sure that they don't concede a lot, because this Manchester United side is really flying. They're in fine form. But then also, can they find ways to score more goals? You look at the draws they're making, 1-1, 0-0. They hardly make a 2-all draw. They're hardly making 3-all draws. This is not the side that scored 3 against Manchester City in the opening days of the season, okay? So they had a 0-0 draw against Arsenal. They had a 1-all draw against Bournemouth. They had a 1-all draw, I think, against Southampton. And this is where Man United will be looking to exploit them. They don't score enough, and they are capable of conceding. Man United have really done very well in their last 5 games, winning 2, losing 1, and drawing 2 as well. Man United are really, really flying in the table. Actually, that is not right. Man United have won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1 of their last 5 games in the Premier League. They will be looking to continue their very good run. And United, of course, come into this game with a lot of confidence after dumping FC Barcelona, the potential favorites of the Europa League. They dumped them out 2-1 at the Old Trafford, 2-2 away at the Camp Nou. So Man United will feel if they can go away in Spain and beat the biggest team in Spain, which is Barcelona, definitely there will be it will be an easy ride for them. But this is not going to be an easy game, and I'm going to tell you why. So in terms of the team news, Man United do not have any injury worries. They do have almost all the players back. They will have a few problems, but I don't think those problems will be substantial. Christian Eriksen is the only player that would have been very substantial in this game. He's not around. He is out for a very long time, and he will be potentially replaced by either Fred or Marcel Sabitzer in the starting lineup. The problem, though, is with Newcastle in terms of team news. They don't have their starting goalkeeper Nick Pope after committing a horrendous mistake in the last game against Liverpool. What was he thinking? What was Nick Pope thinking? In my opinion, I've seen the English press try to cover for him. I've seen English fans try to cover for him. That is stupid. What he did was absolutely stupid. You don't need to be a sweeper goalkeeper to know that you don't handle the ball outside the penalty area. You don't need to be a super goalkeeper. You don't need to be a super goalkeeper to understand that you've mistimed the ball and maybe that's a huge mistake. You don't need to be a super goalkeeper to know that you can't pick up a red card 1 week to the final. You don't need to be a sweeper goalkeeper. So in my opinion, they will not have Nick Pope, and also their second goalkeeper, that is Martin Dubravka, won't be playing in this game because he is cap tied. So that is where the problem is for Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes is the other player that is potentially coming back. If he plays in this game, what a difference that could make. What a huge difference that could make for Newcastle United. Look, they're winning more games with Bruno G in the game in the squad, and they're winning less games when he doesn't play for them. So that is it in terms of the team news. So in terms of the predicted lineup, let's look at how Man United would line up, and let's look at how Newcastle would line up in this game as well. So in terms of the predicted lineup, let's have let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. Man United will start David De Gea in goal, potentially. Luke Shaw at left back, Martinez, at centre back, Varane and Diogo Dalot. That is if they don't have any problems, and that should be the back four that Erik ten Hag goes for. He's one of those managers that really love to go with a consistent 11 when they play. Casemiro and Sabitzer should be starting in midfield, or Casemiro and Fred. Potentially it could be Casemiro and Sabitzer. Jadon Sancho in that number 10 role. Bruno Fernandes has always been playing on the right hand side ever since Erik ten Hag started switching around with his team. Rashford on the left hand side, and then Vegas down through the middle. Now that is a lineup, in my opinion, that should beat any team if Manchester United are going to win a game. The only team that Man United cannot beat in the league with this team should be Manchester City, to be honest. It should be Manchester City. But the rest of the teams could suffer defeat and can suffer defeat against this team. So that is the predicted lineup for Man United. For Newcastle, they will not make so many changes, in my opinion, from their last game where they suffered defeat to Liverpool. Nick Pope, who should be in goal, won't be in. So Loris Karius, who I tried to find and I didn't get in this in my crate formation lineup, starts in goal. So it's not Nick Pope, it's Loris Karius. Dan Burn at left back. Steven Botman, who's been very great for them this season. Fabian Schär, who has had a very fantastic season alongside Steven Botman. And Kieran Trippier, who is more of a revelation of a signing for me in the Premier League. Best Premier League signing in the last 1 year, in my opinion. In midfield, Bruno Guimaraes, if he comes back and past fit, alongside Joe Linton and Joe Willock, that should be the midfield three. Alan Saint-Maximin is back on the left-hand side. In the goals, of course, it's going to be Alexander Isak to be the poacher, and Miguel Almiron, who signed a new deal recently until is it 2027, should be the guy on the right-hand side, trying to cause all sorts of problems for Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. So that is how the lineup is going to be looking like. How do I expect Newcastle to approach the game? Now, Erik ten Hag talked about how Newcastle play, and he said they are absolutely boring. They're a team that likes to be sitting into a deep shape. They are anti-football. They like to be a little bit boring. But he said, as Man United, we will find a way. We will always try to find a way. If they play like that, if they sit in a low block, if they sit in a shape, we will find a way. Now, listen, this is a final, okay? This is a final. And I don't expect Newcastle to come into this game, open up as if they're going to get receive gifts. That will be absolutely unthinkable and unforgivable from Eddie Howe. So what he has to do, and this is what he will do, he will sit in a low block. I don't think he will play a high line. You look at Dan Burn, he can, is a centre back. So literally Dan Burn, Botman and Schär allow them to play a back three with Trippier and Joelinton more of fullbacks rather than actually more of wing backs rather than fullbacks. So in my opinion, Newcastle tactically will go for a low block. They'll try to stay in shape, frustrate Manchester United, and then catch Man United on the break because they have runners in Alexander Isak, they have Alan Saint-Maximin, and they also have Miguel Almiron. So that's one thing Man United has to look out for. When you look at this team right here, you have around 3 players that you literally cannot let them go. You can't let them run. Alan Saint-Maximin, Alexander Isak and Miguel Almiron. If Man United let them run, it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a totally different game. But I do trust Erik ten Hag. He's one of those managers that really understand the opposition. They take time, look at the game, understand the opposition, know their strengths and weaknesses, and that is how he stops most of the teams. So I don't think United will be playing to the strength of Newcastle like Arsenal did earlier on in the season. But it's a game that we've already seen before in the Premier League, and it went like draw. It went square, okay? But Man United then were not as good as they are now, and Newcastle were not as bad as they are now. So it could be a very different game. So Newcastle sitting in a low block. How do I expect Manchester United to react to that? And how do I expect Man United to play? I think it's going to be more of a possession-based game for Man United. You look at that team, whether it is Jadon Sancho or Garnacho starting, whether it is Marcelo Sabitzer or Fred starting, I think United are going to play possession, be patient, wait for Newcastle to make a mistake. I think it will be one of those games where Man United are happy to have possession and then wait for the opposition to make and take one footstep wrong, okay? It's not a game I expect a lot of goals out of. It's a game I expect Man United to win, but not very comfortably. But they must win this one. They will win this one. So for me, that's the starting lineup for Man United. I think they will play. They'll be dominant. They'll have around 57 to 60% of ball possession. Newcastle sitting in their low block. They'll try to catch Man United on the surprise. I think Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Varane, and Diogo Dalot have really understood very well the task ahead, especially when they play against runners. We saw it against Barcelona. We saw it against Arsenal. They really understand the task ahead. So for me, time for predictions, and I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go very bold in this one. Manchester United will win this final in the 90 minutes. Will Newcastle score? This United side is not easy to score against, okay? I mean, oppositions do always have their moments where they can create something against United this season, but they're not easy to score against. They don't easily concede Manchester United, do they? And that's where I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0 Manchester United. I don't see Newcastle hold out and to that point where they cannot concede. But I don't see them give Man United like 3-4, right? Opportunities to... They will get the opportunities, but I don't think United will score the 4 goals. Now, this could be a very different game if Manchester United lose or concede in the early stages of the game. Because what Newcastle want is get that early goal. For example, 30 minutes in, you're leading 1-0, and then you have something to protect, and boy, oh boy, they can protect that very well. So in my opinion, 2-0 for Manchester United. They should avoid conceding early. I think the highlights are going to be on Loris Karius. Let me know in the comment box below. Could Loris Karius be the game changer for Man United? And I mean it, for Man United. Now, this is a goalkeeper that I believe has some sense and importance in him. He's been absolutely derailed, absolutely ripped apart by the media, and everyone thinks whatever kind of shot goes on to goal will be in the back of the net. This is not Danny Ward. This is Loris Karius. This is a guy who played for Liverpool in the final of the UEFA Champions League. Yes, Liverpool have bad memories of that day, but we're talking about a player who's played for Liverpool before. So in my opinion, Loris Karius could be a game changer. Key players in this one. Rashford, of course, will be a key player. Bruno Fernandes will be a key player as well. And Casemiro, especially with Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield. It's going to be an interesting key battle in there. So Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Rashford. Those will be key players for Man United. And defensively, Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane to stop Alexander Isak, who we know has a lot of quality. And Miguel Almiron, who runs a lot, finishes a lot for Newcastle this season, and Alan Saint-Maxima, the unstoppable, ever-running guy. Now, for Newcastle, who are their key players in this one? To be honest, if you're Newcastle, you want runners. You want your team to be on the ball. You want your team to get Saint-Maxima and Almiron on the ball as much as they can. But Bruno Guimaraes is going to be such a key player for them. If they're going to have any dominance, if they're going to have any fight in the midfield, Bruno G is going to be a very, very, very big player for them. I think Alanson Maxima, Miguel Almiron will be key players. But defensively, this is where more key players are going to be. Trippier, Ban, Botman, and Shah. They're going to be very key players because, one, you don't want Loris Karius, who I just defended a few seconds ago, to be exposed too much. But then you also have Dan Ban and Trippier having an extra responsibility of making sure that there are some chances created. Trippier is one player that can decide a final. He can take on free kicks and dead ball situations very well. So Man United have got to look out for him. My prediction still stands: Man United 2, Newcastle nil. Let me know yours in the box below.